Good morning, this is Sharon from the House of Prayer. Antichrist, brutal laws, prophecy that was given to Bertha Dudde on September 7th, 1948. A visible power will control you, which will refuse to acknowledge an invisible power. And this power will provoke your last test of faith, for it will be fighting against me and will also want to educate you into becoming my adversaries. And this is why you will require your entire strength of faith in order to resist it. Many will bow down under the scepter of the ruler promising them golden mountains, but will demand the surrender of all faith in return, of all spiritual knowledge, the acknowledgement of this power and sovereignty, and the denial of an eternal Creator, of a loving and righteous God who will call people to account one day for their will, thoughts, and actions. And thus he will oppose me, and although the last battle will not last long, it will be very difficult for my believers because they will be placed under inhumane pressure, which will make professing Christ incredibly difficult for them. Yet the knowledge of the pure truth, my obvious help, and the hope of my coming and life in paradise on the new earth will give you the strength to preserve and to defy every onslaught on part of the worldly authority. You have my word that I will not let you remain in adversity. You can be firmly convinced of that. I know my own and will support every one of them if only they rely on me, if only they believe in me. But the one who will dazzle people with his intellectual sharpness has comprehensive knowledge, with his easygoing conduct towards other rulers, and they will all grant him the right of organizational activity, with the ultimate goal of displacing all spiritual schools of thought. For he will try to portray spiritual striving as the wrongly applied energy of life, which shall be used for the construction and improvement of earthly requirements. And he will find followers everywhere who will acknowledge him and likewise proceed against all spiritual work. And thus my servants on earth will have a difficult time. At first, the intention will be to take all means which enable you to be spiritually active away from you. But you will also be individually persecuted and will have to give account to the earthly authorities about your convictions and activities. Furthermore, you will also be plunged into earthly hardships as a result of laws which seem, and indeed are, extraordinarily hard and brutal for the believer. If I was not going to stand by you and sustain you by spiritual means, and you will feel my obvious help, you will sense that I am with you and know the hardship of every individual person which I remedy when the time is right. The Antichrist will come, and with him all the signs of the approaching end. For as soon as the battle of faith commences, you can be certain that the end will not be long in coming, because the battle of faith will be waged with such severity and so brutally that I myself will have to come in order to rescue my own from deepest distress and lift them up into the realm of peace. And then the last judgment will happen, and my adversity's power will be broken for a long time. Amen. Daniel chapter 7, verses 25 and 26. He will speak against the Most High and oppose his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for a time, times and half a time. But the court will sit and his power will be taken away and completely destroyed forever. Matthew chapter 24, verses 15 to 22. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, is spoken of through the prophet Daniel, the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one on the housetop go down and take anything out of the house. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. How dreadful it will be for those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that your fight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath, for then they will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. If those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elite, those days will be shortened.